Hello awesome people, this is Anand and welcome to my another Kotlin tutorial. In this video, I am going to explain about the variable in Kotlin. So without any further delay, let's start. So the first question, what is a variable? Let's first understand it. A variable is the name given to a memory location. This memory location can contain any type of data and a variable is an identifier for that particular memory location. For example, look at this diagram. Here, value 10 is stored at a specific memory location of RAM. That is random access memory, and a variable is the name assigned to that memory location. Now let's understand how to define a variable in Kotlin. Kotlin provides two special keywords for defining a variable. First keyword is val and second keyword is var. You can use any of the keyword to define a variable in Kotlin, but there is a big difference between both the keywords. We will see the difference shortly. Let's first see how to define a variable using the val keyword. A general syntax for defining a variable using a val keyword is like this. First type val keyword, then variable name, after that colon, data type of the variable, then equal sign, and then value which you want to assign to this variable. Now let's see an example. According to the syntax, we have to type val keyword first, then give the variable name. I am giving the variable name here first number, then colon, after that type of the variable. I am giving the type here int. This int is basically a data type in Kotlin. Don't worry about the data type for now. In future videos, I will explain it in great detail. Right now, focus on creating the variable. After the data type, type equal sign and then assign the value. I am giving 10 as the value. Here is the another example. Here we have created a variable second number of type integer and we have assigned value 20 to this variable. In Kotlin, you can also define the variable like this. If you notice, we have omitted the colon and data type, which is perfectly valid in Kotlin. If we don't define any data type for the variable, then Kotlin automatically assumes that this variable is of type integer. This is known as type inference mechanism, which means Kotlin compiler will automatically identify the type based on the value you provide. If you have prior experience of Java, then you might know that Java doesn't support type inference mechanism. Let's see another example. Here also we have defined a variable using val keyword. Variable name is third number and we have defined its data type int. But if you notice, we didn't assign any value to this variable. In the next line, we have assigned 30 to this variable. This is also valid in Kotlin. That means you can declare the variable and assign the values later. But if you are not giving the value to the variable at the time of declaration, then it's mandatory to provide data type. Otherwise, Kotlin will throw compilation error. At the time of declaration, either you can provide a data type to the variable or you must initialize it. For example, look at this code. Here we have created a variable fourth number, but we didn't assign any values to it. We also didn't declare any data type for this variable. In the next line, we are trying to assign 20 as a value to this variable, but this code is not correct in Kotlin. It will throw compilation error because a variable must have a data type if you are not assigning any values to it. Now let's understand another important thing. In Kotlin, if you are creating any variable using the val keyword, then that variable is read-only. It means once you assign the value to that variable, you cannot change it. It's very similar to final variable in Java. If you try to assign value to that variable, it will give you compilation error. Val cannot be assigned. Now let's see how to define a variable using the var keyword. The syntax for defining a variable using var keyword is very similar to defining a variable using val keyword. First you type var keyword, then type variable name, then colon, then data type of the variable, then equal sign, after that value which you want to assign to this variable. Now let's see an example. According to the syntax, we have to type var keyword first, then give the variable name. I am giving the variable name here first number, then colon, after that type of the variable. I am giving the type int here. This int is a data type in Kotlin. After the data type, type equal sign and then assign the value. I am giving 10 as the value. Let's see another example. In Kotlin, you can also define the variable like this. If you notice, we have omitted the colon in data type, which is perfectly valid in Kotlin. If you don't define any data type for the variable, then Kotlin automatically assumes the data type based on the value we assign to that variable. For example, here Kotlin will automatically assume that this variable is of type integer. Now let's understand another important thing. In Kotlin, if you are creating any variable using the var keyword, then you can change the value of that variable. You can reassign the value. For example, look at this code. Here we have defined a variable test using var keyword and then assigned value 20 to that variable. In the next line, we have assigned value 30 to this variable. it means we have changed the value of variable test. This is perfectly valid if you have used var keyword to declare a variable. This is the main difference between val and var keyword. If you define a variable using val keyword, then you cannot change the value of that variable because it's read-only variable. But in case of var, you can change it. Now it's time to understand another important concept of Kotlin, which is related to variable creation. Let's look at this code. Here we are creating a variable a of a string type and its value is abc. String is a data type in Kotlin which we will understand in future videos. Here we have created a variable using var keyword. That means we can change the value of that variable. In the next line, I have assigned a null to the variable a. Those who don't know what is null, it's an indication that the variable refers to nothing. In the first line, when we say a equal to abc, that means a is referring to the value abc. In the next line, when we say a equal to null, that means a is not referring to anything. If you try to run this program, Kotlin will throw compilation error. Because when you create a variable in Kotlin, by default they are non-nullable. You cannot assign null to them. If you think that the value of variable can be null, then you have to specifically define the variable as nullable. And to do that, you have to use question mark. So the general syntax for declaring a variable as nullable is like this. First type var keyword, then variable name, after that colon, data type of the variable, just after the data type use question mark, then equal sign, and then value which you want to assign to this variable. This question mark tells Kotlin that the variable can hold null values. For example, look at this code. Here you notice we have used var keyword, then colon, then data type of the variable which is a string, and just after the data type we have used question mark. After that we have assigned the value abc to this variable. Now if you try to assign null to this variable and run the program, it will successfully compile. Just to summarize, Kotlin distinguishes between the variable which can hold null values and those variables that cannot. And this question mark just after the data type tells Kotlin that this variable can hold null. If you don't use question mark, then that variable won't be able to hold null. And if you try to assign null, then Kotlin will throw compilation error. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please like, share, comment, and do not forget to subscribe my channel. I will catch you guys on the next video. Till then, keep learning and have a nice day.